All right, guys, what's going on? Wrap-up show. Jim presumably on his way in. He's in Northern California for the weekend. He's going to make his way in at some point. He's with his family, so we give Jim a day off, at least to start the show. Welcome in, wrap-up show with John. We'll see if Jim joins or not. Padres do win the series. Disappointing Sunday, though. Really disappointing Sunday as they lose the Royals 15-7. Sloppy errors. Josh Hader, Sean Maneaa. We'll get into all of it. As always, please subscribe if you're a Padres fan. We have year-round content for you. Appreciate your willingness to subscribe if you're a Padres fan. Smash the like button for us as well. And follow me on Twitter at John Schaefer. Follow our radio show at John and Jim. If you want to become a member and get the custom emojis like you're seeing tonight in the chat, the Jim Sucks emojis, which are very useful on a night where he's not here, you can click the join button next to subscribe down below. Also, if you want to support this channel and you want to make sure I get your comment, especially tonight as a one-man band, please consider the super function. The way to contribute with the super chat is by clicking the $sign down below. And yes, Ben, he is. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. I thought Jim would be in here, going full throttle here against what happened today at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, where the Padres did not play well. Was it a good series? Yeah. I mean, to win 2 out of 3 on the road against any team, I think is, a series that would be deemed a successful one. We asked for this team to win this series, and that's ultimately what they did. But when you get into this game specifically, this is fun. Tim Hill's been very good. He has, but I kind of like that. Will Myers pitched. In fact, Will Myers had more outs today than Josh Hader in that 9th inning. So let's get into this. Again, we appreciate your support. If you want to get to the supers, since I'm a one-man band, I'll make sure to get to all the supers here tonight. So Padres lose 15-7. I think the story in this one, if you watch this game, is, you're not going to win a game when Sean Maneaa pitches like that. You're not going to win a game when a starter pitches like that. I thought his first inning today at Kauffman Stadium was about as bad as you can pitch. You look at this Kansas City lineup, it's not good. There was nobody in their lineup with an OPS over, let's see, at the end of the game, nobody in this lineup had an OPS over 735. This is a really bad hitting team, and they had 18 hits today, 10 of them against Sean Maneaa. Now, they've been a better team at home. They haven't been great. They're still 4 or 5 games under 500 at home. But when you allow 5 runs in the first inning, you're going to lose, 99% of the time? Probably 98% of the time. Maneaa went a couple of more innings, allowed 1 more run. You look at his last, I don't even know what it is now, 9 starts. I think opponents are hitting something like 330 off him. He just hasn't been effective. He had 1 start against Washington where he was, I guess, good enough. I think he was somewhat fortunate. Again, facing a bad lineup, did allow 1 solo home run in that game. Somehow pitched well enough against Washington, but he's just been bad. And I don't think you can turn to him again. I just don't. I don't think he can start another game for the Padres this year. I just don't. Are you in a position where you just want to punt on every 5th game from here on out? Now, the good news is with all these off days, you could get creative with this rotation. You don't even have to pitch a 5th starter if you don't want to for the better part of the last 5 weeks of the year, because they still have, 5 or 6 off days still to come. Ultimately, I think they'll use 5 starters. Who's the 5th starter going to be? Could it be Jay Groom? Have they gotten that Eric Hosmer deal? Imagine if that paid dividends to some extent. Could it be Reese Kinnear, Ryan Weathers? I just don't think it can be Sean Maneaa. That first inning was that bad, where they were pouncing on everything. It was essentially BP. It was an awful inning. They batted around. Again, he gives them 4 innings. I thought the bullpen was good enough until Hader, and we'll get into Hader coming up here in a moment as well. But, for the chat, who wants to see Sean Maneaa start another game in a Padres uniform? I don't. And it's not personal. He's just been bad. He's just been really bad. Did I see this from Kevin Acee today? He's got the worst road ERA in baseball for a starter. So, yeah, that's not going to work. And you can't pitch him at Dodger Stadium in 5 or 6 days or 4 and 5 days or whenever it is. You just can't. So, I think they need to make a change for whatever reason. Is it his health? Is it velocity? Is it mental? Whatever it is, he's not the same pitcher we saw the first 2 months of the year. He's just not. So I think they need to make a decision on Maneaa. Now, one name it's not going to be, in my opinion, is Nick Martinez. And thank you, Oceanside Boy 760, for chiming in. I see a couple of people talking about Nick Martinez. I just don't see it. Nick Martinez has been very good as a back-end guy. He's been pitching effectively in relief. He's been one of their better relievers this year. So twofold. He's not stretched out. So I don't see why all of a sudden in September you'd want to stretch him out. I think you're asking for trouble. And he's been effective in your bullpen. So usually you have one problem, don't create two. Your one problem is Sean Maneaa. You could easily create two problems by moving Nick Martinez to rotation, and all of a sudden he's not as effective as he was in your bullpen. So because it's just 1/5 of your rotation, and because you have off days still to come, I don't think they need to get overly creative, but I think you probably need to turn to AAA El Paso. Or I think you need to skip Sean Maneaa for a turn or more, or put him on the IL, whether it's an actual injury or not, and he needs to work through some things. But I just don't see how you're clinging to a 1.5 game lead in the wild card race for that final wild card, and you're going to pitch Sean Maneaa another 6 or 7 times this year. I mean, what are you asking for? You can't do that. I'm not saying Jake Groom is going to be more effective than Sean Maneaa, but he could be. He's not going to be less effective. I can promise you that. I'm not saying that Reese Kinnear is going to be more effective, but he's not going to be less effective. So you know what Sean Maneaa is right now, which is one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball. So knowing that, I think you need to look outside. And I'd be very surprised if Sean Maneaa pitched at Dodger Stadium next weekend. I'd be very, very surprised if that happened. So that was kind of the first part of the game here today. And again, as you make your way into the chat, we appreciate it. Please subscribe here on Padres Content for you. John Schaefer hanging out with you here tonight. We'll see if Jim Russell makes it into the chat or not. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD, at John and Jim. Please consider a membership. You can click the join button down below. And thank you for all the supers. It is a great way to support the channel. You can click the $sign down below. So you have the dynamic that played out with Maneaa. Now, to the Padres offense, to their credit, they actually made this a game. And if not for some sloppy play throughout the course of this game, including the 6th inning with 3 unearned runs scored, if not for those 3 unearned runs, if not for Luis Campisano getting picked off second base, maybe this is a game. I mean, maybe the Padres, are even or ahead even in the 6th or 7th inning, to their credit. And the offense was very good this series. They scored 24 runs. Contributions from Manny Machado today. He continues to put together top 5 MVP type year. He's hitting 304. He's got a 911 OPS. He was 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs and 3 runs scored. I mean, are you kidding me? And then Juan Soto, great to see him back, obviously, from that back. He's been productive his first 2 days back. Today he homers. You get 3 home runs from Manny Machado and Juan Soto combined, and you lose 15-7. That's all you need to know about baseball. But the offense, I think, did enough. I mean, I know the offense did enough to win this game here today. And then you look at what happened here in the bullpen, and by and large, the bullpen was effective. And then you turn to Josh Hader, and I would have turned to Josh Hader there as well. You're trailing, it's late. Best case scenario, he gives you a scoreless inning. Worst case scenario, he blows up, which is what happened here today. So everything I said about Maneaa applies now to Hader. Hader has to go on the IL. I'd be very surprised if Hader pitches 1 meaningful inning from this point on for the Padres this year. I'd be very surprised. Can they hide him in the bullpen like they've tried to use him over the last week or 10 days? I guess you can. I don't know what the point of doing that is. There is a better option in AAA right now if you're looking for 26th man on a roster than Josh Hader. As crazy as that sounds, what I'm saying is Hader is not the closer you think you acquired. So don't pitch him trailing 6-0 or leading 12-3. Get him right. The way to get him right is not the way they're using him. The way to get him right is to put him on the IL and work on whatever he needs to work on. And I don't even know what can be worked on right now. I don't know if it's just going to be a failure until 2023. I don't think he's lost everything for his career, but I think he's lost everything right now. He's got the highest ERA in baseball since June 7th. Like, think about that. Josh Hader has the highest ERA, minimum 20 innings pitched since June 7th in the big leagues. Today, just an absolute train wreck. No command of anything. This has nothing to do with tipping pitches. I don't think it has a ton to do with velocity. He just can't command anything, and he looks lost out there. A third of an inning, 5 hits, six runs for Josh Hader here today. Will Myers had to clean up the mess, and Myers goes 2/3 of an inning, and he actually pitched, got more outs, recorded more outs in this game than Josh Hader. So I would say this with both Maneaa and Hader. I'd be surprised if either pitch another meaningful inning for this team this year. I mean, it's hard to see how you just continue throwing them out there and you expect different results, right? I mean, it's too late in the year. These games are too meaningful. You're down to your final 30 to 35 games. What's the number right now? 33 games. And you're going to let guys work through things? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. So, Ben, thanks for hanging out. He says, I don't think Hader's going to go more than a month without pitching again. No, I said he's not going to pitch another meaningful inning for this team this year. Even if it takes him a week or two to find it, there's still a couple more weeks left in the season. Yeah, I just don't see him pitching one meaningful inning. I just don't. He's not closing games for the Padres September 26th when they're a game up or a game down based on what I'm seeing. I mean, we're a long way from that. And I tell you what he's also not doing. If he's not closing games September 26th, if this team is somehow fortunate enough to make the postseason, he's not closing games in the postseason either. There's just no way. I mean, how can you go from this lost to finding it again? And I'm not, again, it's not really a blame game. I know he's had a tough summer. I know this is secondhand. I think I saw this. I know his wife had a very difficult pregnancy. I know he missed some time for the birth of a child. There's a zillion factors. These are human beings. I mean, he's a human being. He's not a guarantee to be as good as he was in 2022, like he was in 2021, or he's not the same pitcher that he was in April, May. These are humans. I mean, they go through things like we all do. So that is understandable. But with that being said, from a team perspective, I just don't see how you could count on Josh Hader at all this year. I'm not saying 2023, maybe everything changes in the offseason. Maybe he is able to refine himself. Maybe. I mean, it's a huge maybe, obviously. I think there's a very realistic scenario he never pitches for this team in 2023. And ultimately, I think it's a shot worth taking. If you were AJ Preller, I don't fault AJ Preller on making this move. I really don't. Not at all. I would have made that move in a heartbeat. I was very complimentary of the move when he made it. But it's been a complete failure. And that happens sometimes. This is not a business that you get 100% hits on, obviously. And, AJ Preller has had some swings and misses. He's also had some big swings that have worked out well. And Juan Soto is a huge swing that's going to benefit this organization in a big way. And hopefully that's in 2022. And if it's not, I trust that it will be, I'm talking about from a team perspective. He's already been very good individually. But, the Soto trade obviously was massive. The Hader trade at the time seemed like it was a significant one. But I can't count on him. I've lost complete faith in Josh Hader. And I'd be surprised if the organization hadn't as well, at least in the short term. I think he goes on the IL. I think Maneaa, I guess theoretically you could put Maneaa in your bullpen. I mean, what does that serve? So do you go from Hader as your 26th man who's pitching in mop-up duty to Sean Maneaa as your 26th man pitching in mop-up duty? Maybe. Maybe. But I don't have it in front of me, but Manea's last 9 games, what's his ERA? 8? Is it higher than that? Something like that. It's just like these games against these teams. Look at the schedule still to come, folks. Dodgers for 9? So after you get through San Francisco, 9 of your final 30 are against the Dodgers. And the Brewers are playing cupcakes. Now, the Brewers, fortunately for Padres fans, don't take advantage. They did take 2 out of 3 this weekend, but this has not been a great team, even against bad teams. Maybe they stumble down the stretch and the Padres are able to get in, even if they don't play perfect baseball from here on out. Or maybe the Brewers play well, and that means you have to play well. And if you have to play well, how can you pitch Sean Maneaa and Josh Hader? Ask yourself that question. And then what are we going to say at the end of the season if they miss out? Everyone's going to point fingers at everyone. They're going to say, oh, it's Fernando Tatis Jr. And I get it. Tatis was a big loss and is a big loss. No question about it. Big loss. But if you pitch Josh Hader and Sean Maneaa down the stretch, you're asking for trouble. And you're asking to miss out. And even without pitching those guys, you're in a very, very tough spot. I mean, where the Padres are right now is in a very tough spot, which is needing to close, by winning, 55% of their games, but they've got a tough schedule with St. Louis and the Dodgers and even the White Sox and a road series in Colorado. Like, it's a very challenging schedule. They haven't played great against bad teams. They were fine this weekend against Kansas City. I would have signed up for 2 out of 3 heading into the weekend. You get greedy and selfish heading into Sunday, having taken the first 2 games, but can they go 3-3 against the Giants and Dodgers here? I don't think it's going to be very easy when you look at who the Giants are going to throw, including Carlos Rodon and Webb, and then you're going to Dodger Stadium. So, I'm signing up for 3 and 3 in a heartbeat right now. But again, that doesn't even guarantee that you still have that third wild card lead at the end of it if the Brewers all of a sudden get hot. So it's Rodon tomorrow. Thank you, Rich, for that. And, Giants have been awful. Giants have been really bad. So get 2 out of 3, and you're in really good shape, and you've had a good trip despite everything we've been talking about. Lose 2 out of 3, and you put yourself in a position where if you don't win 2 out of 3 at Dodger Stadium, never an easy task, obviously, then you are looking at a 4-5. You're looking at a 4-5 homestand potentially, or road trip. Sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once right now. Hold on 1 second, guys. I got to do something really quickly in YouTube. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, John Schaefer with you on the wrap-up show. I'm going to tell you about Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance coming up in a moment, the title sponsor here of the wrap-up show. 1 second. Okay, I do. All right, so while we have a moment, really use Jim, couldn't we, man? A lot easier when I have Jim as well. It's probably a lot easier for Jim when he just doesn't show up. But it's easier for me when I have Jim as well, so I can do 2 things at once, a little easier. I do want to thank Mark Nimitz for his support of the wrap-up show here on YouTube. As we've told you all year long, Mark has been with us since day one. If you have insurance needs, please consider Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Auto, home, renters, life, earthquake insurance, whatever it is, Mark Nimitz is your guy. I've got my homeowners. I've got my earthquake through Mark. I'm going to have life insurance through Mark as well. He can save you $750 on your insurance. Just by switching over to him, he can save you $750 or more in a year. He's got great service and communication. He is a huge Padres fan. He is a San Diegan. He lives and dies on these games like we all do. If you want to support a local business that supports this channel, please consider Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. But again, we recently had a claim in here a couple of months ago, had to get all new flooring. We had to get all types of work done in here. And he took care of everything. And he made the process so much easier than I thought it was going to be. So I really thank Mark for that. My family is so thankful for that as well. So if you have insurance needs, and we all do at one time or another, if you want to save money, and we all do, please contact Mark Nimitz. There is a link down below for his website, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Click that link down below. And thank you, Mark, for your support as the title sponsor of the wrap-up show. Oh, there he is. There he is. The Lord. I was just ripping you.
Okay.
Where are you?
It's the famous 1912 curtains.
I know, man. This is where you were like swatting the fly and drunk, right?
Yeah, I'm not drunk now.
Does that mean you are?
No.
Oh, okay. What's going on, dude?
Nothing. Just got done with the family, so I'm joining the other family, and here we go.
There we go, man. Well, I spent 17 minutes ripping Maneaa and Hader. Would you like to spend a couple of minutes doing that?
Yeah. So full disclosure, I didn't really watch much of today's game because I was at a wine festival and a seafood festival.
Oh, so yeah, you haven't been drinking.
No, totally fine. Let me just change something real quick since you.
What did I screw up?
Oh
yeah, the background.
Or my first time.
Yeah. Well, that's because I was solo, dude.
Oh, dude, I remember my first time solo.
I had it right when I was solo, right?
Yeah, you're fine. I think Maneaa's. I don't know what to do with Maneaa anymore. He's a guy that is your fifth starter. If you do a better option than that,
be right.
Yeah,
I got a better option.
Switch me to the left. Take you out and go to the left. There we go. Okay, we're good.
Point. Now everything is right.
Everything is right.
Yeah, I've got a better option, Jim. I mean, for example, they have an off day Thursday, so you don't even need 5 starters this turn if you don't want them. And they have another 5 off days in September. I mean, I'd pitch anyone out there. I'd pitch anyone in AAA over Sean Maneaa right now. Anyone. Is it going to be worse than 5 runs in an inning?
No, I kind of agree with you. I mean, this is about winning right now. You gotta put your best people out there, no matter what their names are. And
Hmm.
Sean Maneaa is not one of them right now. He's lost it. I don't know what I don't think there's enough time for him to turn it around. But I mean, regardless if they make the postseason or not, I mean, not regardless, but if they make the postseason, there's zero chance he's pitching, right? Zero
Zero,
chance.
zero. That's how I feel
So
about Josh Hader as well.
here in a second. But for Sean Manaea, like, is he the worst fifth starter in the world? No. But right now, the situation that they're in, they can't afford to have him pitch every fifth day. So you're right. They have a bunch of off days. You have to limit the times Manaea pitches this year.
Hmm.
Like minimum in September. I mean maximum, excuse me. Maximum in September. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but if you
The
can
three
get
starts.
around 3 starts, yeah, 2 or 3 starts. I mean, two's gonna be tough, but 3 starts max. That's what I would try to do with this rotation right now, because you can't have him pitch like 6 times in September. Are you kidding me?
I don't see how you can have him pitch again, Jim. I mean, there's 33 games left. Your back's against the wall. Milwaukee's playing like AAA teams, and you're playing the Dodgers. I mean, you can't. He cannot pitch at Dodger Stadium this weekend. I mean, that is like just. I'd rather just forfeit
No,
the game.
that's that is a automatic L. Who knows?
The
Like
good thing is he doesn't
if
have to pitch at Dodger Stadium. They're off Thursday, so you could just use your other four starters. They'd all be on normal rest.
you have to
Is
do
that
that,
right?
like you have to do that at this point in the season. Sorry, you're skipping starts if a guy can't perform. And Sean Naya, not only cannot he not perform, he is a literal pitching machine out there. He is getting rocked every single outing. It is he just can't pitch anymore. He's done. It's over. You minimize the times he pitches. If you got to pitch him, then you pitch him. But if you don't have to, you have to make sure you get someone. You get another guy in there.
I agree with you.
And
What do you think about Hader?
um, done. He's going to be a nice non-tender this offseason. I can tell you that. They'll say the only good part about getting Josh Hader this year is you'll save money.
Yeah, but to trade away capital to say, yeah, I mean, you can't even trade him. I mean, he's just got to go, right? I
I
mean,
mean, the only prospect in that trade that you might be like, Estuary Ruiz,
yeah,
but
yeah, definitely.
Taylor Rogers, you can find another Taylor Rogers.
Sure.
Dinelson Lamet might come back to bite you in the ass, but he still has a long way to go. I don't know if he's ever going to be a starter again. Um, who else did they trade in that deal? A couple other prospects I don't even know
I
about.
remember. Oh,
That
the
they,
gasser, the freaking starter.
oh yeah. Well, Martinez is this team's closer. Closer, along with Robert Suarez. Those two guys are your
Mm-hmm.
closers.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hader is IL / you're not pitching him ever. And that's it.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I don't see how Hader. I said this, and Ben Fadden took exception to it in the chat. So I said I don't see Hader pitching one meaningful inning for the Padres.
Why
At
would
least
he?
the remainder of this year. I can't see
Why?
it.
Why? Like
Why
why?
would I guess the reason he would is if somehow he figured it out. How's that happen in 5 weeks? I can't see it. How could it happen? He takes 2 weeks off and then he works himself back into the back end of the bullpen. I just don't see it. I don't think there's enough time and you can't experiment, you know? So I don't see it.
Look,
I'm not saying he's not going to pitch again. He might pitch in a 12-0 game. I don't know. Maybe they hide him in their bullpen. I don't get the point of that, but
I mean, you tried. Preller took a big swing on this, and right now he missed it by 6 feet.
yeah, no
And
doubt.
I'm not blaming him for it. I
Yep.
applaud the move. I think everyone did. And I I don't think this is a situation that everybody was like, "Oh my God, why did I trade for Josh Hader?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud the move at the time. I appreciate the try, but it just didn't work. Thankfully, you traded for Juan Soto. That's worked out pretty well. And you are thankful that you have Nick Martinez and Robert Suarez the back end of your bullpen, because if you went with Josh Hader and he was your only closer, you're fucked.
Yeah, and the truth is, I saw some people in the chat talking about it. I mean, Taylor Rogers has been way better than Josh Hader. There's no pitcher in baseball that's been worse than Josh Hader since June 7th. 12 ERA since June 7th. I mean, so
It's horrible.
crazy.
It's done. His stuff seems so flat. Throwing 98, but it's the most hittable 98 ever. I don't know how he fell off a cliff here. It's kind of crazy to me.
Well, he can't throw a strike. I mean,
Even when he throws
he's
strikes,
completely
Sean,
lost. He's completely lost. When he throws strikes, he gets hit hard.
I do think baseball is a lot of in between the ears,
Yeah,
and I I think along with his mechanics, he's completely lost confidence, and that is the worst combination to have for a closer.
yeah. You're
But
right. I
hey,
mean, this would be the worst. I mean, Bo just said, he has the yips. I mean, that would be the worst possible scenario, other than
look,
injury.
you'll just non-tender him after the season, and you'll save some money, and you hopefully don't have to worry about it because you won the World Series and no one cares.
Yeah. That's a nice scenario. I mean, what's going to happen is he'll get non-tendered, and then he's going to end up somewhere, and he's going to have like a 2.1 ERA next year and 39 saves. And
Well,
you'll
yeah,
say, "How?" You know?
that's going to happen, but again, it's like, do you want to take that risk and pay what 11, 12,
17.
13,
17.
17? Shit. Yeah, you're getting non-tendered, no doubt.
Yeah, maybe that
Like,
number drops a little bit because of this horrific year, but it'll be like, well, he already is making over 11 this year, so it only can go up.
oh, he's getting non-tendered. That's a guarantee.
Yeah. I wanted to get to this comment real quick. Someone just said Drury has been awful. So I'm just looking at Drury in a Padres uniform. Let's see. In a Padres uniform in 23 games, he's at 198, 239, 337 for a 576 OPS. Drury has been awful.
Blech.
Like, that's really bad. Like, as bad as anyone on the Padres over that stretch, probably. And that's hard. maybe that's wrong. That's probably wrong. Profar's been awful. Cronenworth hasn't been good. Alfaro's been awful. But I mean, it's an accurate statement from JD's third. He has not been good.
No, not good at all. He had a great first at bat with the team. He's had a couple other good at bats. He should have more home runs with the team. Got robbed. But what's Josh Bell hitting now?
With the Padres?
Can't be much better.
No, but the thing is, at least his last 6 or 7 games, he's come to life.
Yeah. Again, I think regardless, you make all these trades. Juan Soto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got Juan Soto, and that's the most important thing here.
True, but at the end of the day, like we know about baseball, like if you watch the Angels, I mean, Manny Machado and Juan Soto can literally hit 3 home runs and have 5 hits and score 4 or 5 runs, and you can lose by 8 runs.
Dude, I'm watching the Cardinals game tonight.
Yeah.
And you're like, they got dudes everywhere.
Say that again. You were cutting in and out.
I said, you watch the Cardinals game tonight. They got dudes literally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Padres don't have that.
Well, I looked up Josh Bell, by the way. He's got a higher OPS than Brandon Drury in a Padres uniform. 181, 306. 306 a good on-base percentage for hitting 181. Yeah. 301 slug, which is awful, but 607 OPS. Drury's in the 500s.
Are you satisfied with this? Are you satisfied with this series?
Yes. I mean, I'm not satisfied with today, but yes. I asked for 2 out of 3. They took 2 out of 3. I didn't think they'd play like they didn't care today, and I'm not saying they did, but I mean, Manny was throwing BP. Luis Campusano got picked off second at a throwing error. I'm less concerned with his game calling. I'm more concerned with just boneheaded plays. But I'm taking 2 out of 3. I mean, they didn't gain any ground. They didn't lose any ground. They're a game and a half up on Milwaukee, but that's a dangerous game to be playing because again, you're going to be playing good teams, and Milwaukee's going to be playing average or below average teams. And at some point, is there going to be a cross where they play better than you do, and they pass you? Would you have I mean, would you take it
Yeah,
or not?
duh. Yeah, of course I would take 2 out of 3. But again, doesn't it feel like there's been a lot of series like that this year where the series ends with the sour taste in your mouth? And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, 2 out of 3. But man, that last game really sucked.
Mm-hmm.
you know? Or they lose the first 2 and you're like, okay, cool. We take 1 out of 3 and you're like, that feels good because you won the
Mm-hmm.
final game, but in reality it's just not. The offense came to life this series. That's a positive. It might have just been Kansas City is hot right now, so
Yep.
the ball's flying. That could be something why pitching on both sides was just all over the place. Besides you, Darvish yesterday after giving up those 3 runs in the first inning, and then coming back and pitching, I believe 7 innings
Yeah,
of
he pitched well
6.
after that.
But maybe it was just a case of over the weekend, you got a hot Kansas City, ball was flying, and you got not great pitchers on both sides of the ball. We'll now see
Yeah.
if this offense is awake going to San Francisco tomorrow, I believe facing Carlos Rodon.
Rodon, Webb. Again, Giants have been really bad, but
They've
the
been bad.
Padres haven't been. Padres are 10-13 since Soto. It's not exactly the best baseball in baseball.
Exactly. And I mean, Rodon and Webb, okay, they're not exactly the pitchers you face in Kansas City. The Giants'
No.
offense is trash. Giants' team is not great. Their
Yep.
bullpen is not great. Rodon was an all-star this year, and Webb's had a very good season as well. So those are going to be 2 tough games. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
how shitty the Giants are. They're going to be tough. And you got to go. I feel like you have to go into LA taking at least 2 or 3 from the Giants
Yeah, because that
because
allows you to go 1-2 against LA.
exactly.
I agree. We're going to get back to the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out and your support. Please subscribe if you're here. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter. We appreciate the supers as well. Great way to support this channel. We do want to tell you about Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance. Omar's got his brand new website, loansbyomar.com. That is loansbyomar.com. And again, as we've been telling you about Omar, he's here to help all Padres fans with their mortgages. Simple as that. Check out the brand new site, loansbyomar.com. Get everything you need there. You can click on the education tab. It has all the resources you need, including for first-time home buyers. You can text Omar right now, 619-387-7798. He's your San Diego native mortgage broker. San Diegan that went to San Diego State that is a huge Padres fan. If you're looking to buy your dream home, Omar can help. If you want to refinance to consolidate your debt, he can help with that as well. If you're in the process of buying or refinancing and you want a second opinion to make sure you're getting the best deal possible, just call or text Omar for a free consultation. But Jim, like we've been saying, make sure to check out this new website, loansbyomar.com.
Yeah, scan the QR code. It will take you right to this website. Also, text them 619-387-7798. When you reach out to Omar, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
All right. Thank you, Omar Sanchez. Thank you for your support of this channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this Sunday night. Padres on their way for San Francisco 3-game series beginning on Monday evening. To the Padres' credit here today, Jim, and like you said, I know you were out and about, but you've seen this box score and you've seen highlights from this game. I mean, they go down, they score a run, Kansas City scores a run, they score 2, KC scores 3, they score 2 again. Like the Padres didn't go away. And if they played cleaner baseball and didn't allow 3 unearned runs in the 6th inning, and if they didn't have Luis Campusano picked off second immediately before a home run, like conceivably they could have been tied or ahead in this game as late as the 6th or 7th inning. So like you said, 24 runs in 3 games. Are they going to score 24 runs in 3 games in San Francisco against this pitching? Probably not. But I'm encouraged that this offense has woken up because they were playing as poorly as any offense in baseball for 9 or 10 consecutive games.
Yeah, the runners in scoring positions definitely changed. That was a big positive in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's another case of just being sloppy. Just sloppy baseball. Can't have that. Like, can we put together a consistent series where you play good baseball throughout and don't have a hiccup?
Be nice. That would be nice.
That's what they need. And it feels like every series, there's at least one game where there is just a lot of sloppy baseball, no hitting, or bad pitching, or bad base running, or whatever the case may be. It's just one game out of a series where that happens. And you need to
Mm-hmm.
put together a full series. 2 or 3 against the Royals, that's like the bare minimum. That's good. Still
It's just
need to
tough. I mean,
see
let's
more.
be honest. I mean, sweeping a road series with this team right now is not like. I mean,
7
you're
runs
asking a
today?
lot. This team has some real flaws, like Sean Maneaa, like Josh Hader, like offensive
But
inefficiencies that they've shown since the trade deadline. You know,
you scored 7 runs today, okay? But then you gave up 15. You had got picked off second. You had a couple errors. I mean, like today was just blah.
hmm
15 runs you gave up? Like, what are we doing?
well, not. I mean, they did, but they didn't really. Josh Hader. I mean, if they were in the
I
game, it wouldn't
know.
have been Josh Hader.
Still, at the end of the day, another sloppy game.
Oh yeah, no, very sloppy. And again, you're not winning games. I said this earlier. Manai gives a 5 in the first inning. Bye bye, game over. 99 out of 100, you'll lose. There's a game or two in there you'll win, but the game was over, and that's when the game ended when he allowed 5 runs the first inning. And if you look back, that's basically what transpired. Because it's hard to overcome that kind of deficit, and they lose the game, and that shouldn't be very surprising. You get that type of starting pitch. I mean, he's throwing batting practice. He gave up 6 hits in the first inning to a lineup that doesn't have anyone with an OPS over 720. Their
Yeah, it
lineup
was
is
bad.
awful. Like Michael A.
Sean
Taylor,
Maneaa,
their backup
yeah.
outfielder, hits a solo leadoff home run. I mean, this team's not good, you know?
Like, I honestly think for Sean Maneaa and Josh Hader, you go IL stints, IL stints,
Oh,
and
I
bring
think so
up.
too. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, is my Wi-Fi shit?
No, it's like your sound. It's those earbuds, I think. It's like it can be really good, then it goes out for about a second, then it comes back.
Dude, I'm in like a corner of a room right now.
No, you're good. We're good. Just it's fun to rip into here and there.
I love. I loved on Twitter this weekend when Will Myers finally did something.
Yeah,
I
they're
was
like, why
deemed
have you
a
been so quiet on Will Myers?
like I was deemed a
Uh,
hater. Like, give me a break.
And somebody was like, I'm very surprised by how quiet Jim and John have been related to Will Myers' success over the last 2 games. Like, well, hold on, time out. What about the other 100? Secondly, we take 1 day off, which was Saturday, so we didn't comment on 1 day about basically the 2 days that Will Myers did anything.
Yeah,
So no, I mean, and I think we talked about it Friday night. I mean, I know we talked about it Friday night. He homered Friday night. We're saying that's great. We need more of Will Myers doing that down the stretch.
cool. He had 2 homes up. He hit 2 home runs over the weekend. That's double his season total.
Well, now
Year.
triple.
Well,
He went from 1 to 3.
he hit twice as many home runs this weekend than he has all year.
Right. I mean, and I agree with this. I mean,
Yeah,
he, Machado is just it's just ridiculous. The work that he actually does, because this team is, Profar leading off problematic. Profar has done nothing since the Tatis news, and maybe longer than that. Soto,
nope.
of course, Soto was again good today. He's come back, and that's great, and that's huge. Then there's Machado, Drury, nothing. Cronenworth, nothing. Myers today 1 for 5, 2 Ks. I mean, Grisham, you can't count on. Campisano had 2 hits. Great. That's good. But just, it's all Machado. It's like if Machado doesn't do something, you got no shot, is what it feels like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This team right now is still a roller coaster, and until they can play consistent baseball, there's no way I'm guaranteeing this team making the postseason.
No, I was thinking about that today, Jim. That's a great point. No, guaranteeing? No. I think if you look at Baseball Reference right now at Fangraphs, and maybe someone can pull it up, it's a coin flip. It's just a coin flip.
Yeah.
I mean, how could it not be? We've all watched these games. How could you say the Padres are better than a coin flip favorite to win this spot over Milwaukee? What would be your theory there? Milwaukee's worse than San Diego? Okay, but the scheduling is an advantage to Milwaukee. So it's not just about who's better and who's worse. It's who are you playing. If the Padres are only playing
But
the Royals, I like
John,
their chances.
stop
Yeah.
being a hater. Support the team. Give them praise all the time.
You mean a realist?
Opinion.
No, I'm not saying they'll. And here's the thing,
So
and
out
Jim,
of touch, bro.
and you're saying the same thing. I'm not saying they're going to miss the postseason. I'm just saying I'm not going to be surprised if they do. In fact, I won't be surprised at all. I've talked about writing on the wall for a long period of time here. I'd say weeks. It's how long I've used that term. And now the book has not been written. They haven't played themselves out. They haven't, but they haven't played themselves in. And the way they've played overall on the whole since the trade deadline, 10-13, if they play on that trend line down the stretch and the schedule is harder over the next 23 than it was over the last 23, if they play 10-13 over the next 23, my educated opinion is that the Brewers will pass the Padres if they go 10-13, the Padres, in their next 23 games. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah,
I mean, you
and
get
if the
lucky.
Brewers don't pass,
I mean, the Brewers might suck. They could go in the tank.
That could happen as well too. But you are when you're banking on hopefully another team sucking while you are average. That's not a good thing to bank on.
And they're playing
That's just
Pittsburgh.
a bad strategy.
And they're playing Pittsburgh and Arizona. And
yeah, you're asking Pittsburgh and Arizona to help you out. Like that's
bad Cincinnati. Yeah, I don't see how this is possible, Rolo Rumpkin. I that makes no sense. I mean, they were 2.5 up heading into today, so maybe I get the 65% chance, but not 1.5 games with this much time left. What does the 1.5 games mean? There's so many games. You could give up a game and a half in 2 days, obviously. So I don't trust the 1.5 game lead. If it was 3.5 games, I'd feel more confident. I just don't trust the 1.5 game lead. Thank you, Sam, for the super. Thank you guys for hanging out, by the way. Great to have you guys with us on a Sunday night. We greatly appreciate the super chats. It is a great way to support this channel. You can click that $sign down below. We do truly appreciate it. So thank you. Let's start with this one from Sam Jim. He says, how do you guys like Zokar over Grisham? This is a left-right thing, presumably, with the Zokar. I mean, Zokar had like a million infield hits this weekend, which is great. I mean, Grisham's just bad.
Grisham's not great. Bad. He's not great. You're right. It's a matchup thing. I wouldn't play either of them every day.
Right.
Neither of them are either everyday players. So at this point, you just do matchups, honestly, because you're getting the same defense out of both either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, neither are great options, like you said. Neither are great. I think Azokar has shown me more. He's showed me more with less than Grisham has. It's like you got holes, man. You got holes that aren't going to be fixed, whether it's that fifth starter spot, that back end of your bullpen. They got guys that have been good, like you talked about, but it's not going to be Josh Hader. Center field, Profar and left. You have some holes right now. So guys either have to step up or you're susceptible to getting passed by the Brewers. So thank you, Sam, and thank you, JD's third for the super. Greatly appreciated. He says, how do you rate Bomel's performance so far, 1 through 10 or 1 to 10? What do you think?
It's a good question. Right now would give him like a 7.5.
And what's your reasoning?
Well, one, with all the adversity this year, given they still have a playoff spot. They're still in the postseason right now. The season ended today. They're in the postseason. So that's a positive. But I think for why it's only 7.5 is because I feel like this team at times, the laziness, not laziness, but the lack of good play and some of the decisions that he's made, leaving guys in too long, I think they should be better than where they're at. I'm not expecting them to be where the Dodgers are, but I expect them to be like a better team. I expect them to have at least maybe 5 or 6 more wins.
Okay, you say 7.5. I'll give him a 6.
Okay.
Because if his name was anything other than Bob Melvin, if this was Jace Tingler managing this team, I'd probably give him a 3. So that means I'm, not objective to even give him a 6, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my issue. It's less on field. There have been issues on field with pitching and leaving guys in too long. Okay. It's more off field. It's more like, well, we went through this last year and we were sold this bill of goods that he could get the team playing in the right direction when adversity struck. And that has not been the case. Now, is Tatis's injury injury / suspension his fault? Of course it's not. But he also didn't know, or we didn't know, they'd have Juan Soto on this team either at some point, or they make the upgrades they made. And again, they haven't all worked out. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's been a failure, but I don't think it's been a home run. And I think it's closer to, okay than it is a home run or a failure. So,
Yeah.
It's hard for me to go higher than 6. I mean, what has he really shown me that another manager couldn't? How is this team different as opposed to Andy Green managing it? Do we have answers on that? This team be worse with Andy Green as manager, with Manny Machado and Juan Soto?
Yeah, dude. I think Bob Melvin's a better manager than Andy Green.
So do I, but I'm saying, does it differ in wins and losses?
I don't know, John. We'll never know.
Yeah, true. I mean, but do you think my point's valid? I mean, I don't know. Do you think Jace Tingler would have the team in a much worse spot than they are right now because he had the team in the exact same spot a year ago in terms of wins and losses?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm still banking on the experience in the long run paying off.
Yeah, I hope you're right, and there is still time. And I didn't give him a 1. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, it's been okay. It's maybe better than okay, but not. By the way, there was a little bit of controversy here. Jared, who's our mod and a member, thank you, Jared, for hanging out with us tonight, accidentally muted Rich for 5 minutes, but he's back.
I saw that. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then someone called me out because that's like the popular thing to do is like when anything bad happens, it's like, fuck you, Jim. Like, all right.
I'll play down this narrative, Sam. I'll play down. I think this is interesting for the chat. I'm just saying, would the Padres have a worse record? Because remember, they had an identical record to the one they have right now with Jace Tingler as manager last year. Now, they went in the tank for the final 35 games. But is there anything we can tangible here that says that they've been better with Bob Melvin than they would be with someone else? That's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, I watched the 16-inning game too, But I don't know. Melvin's not going anywhere. I'm not saying he should go anywhere. I'm just saying, what has he shown you?
I think for the betterment of the clubhouse, Bob Melvin's significantly better than Jace Tingler or Andy Green.
Probably
and for that alone, that's why I much rather have Bob Melvin. Your wins and losses theory might be correct, but it's do you want to be in a toxic relationship? That's whatever, or
you're right.
Do you want to it's just for the betterment of the clubhouse. Bob Melvin is light years and infinitely better than Andy Green and Jace Tingler ever will be or will.
I agree with that.
That
and listen, I mean, Boogie might be right. I mean, I think they'd have a worse record, to be honest. You may be right. Again, it's one of those things like how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know. We'll never know if that's the case or not. I mean, I like the things that Bob Melvin says. I like that he takes some level of accountability. I'm just wondering, again, when and this has nothing to do with Bob Melvin, but I'll just use an example. Who was the bench coach that served in his absence when he had
Ryan Christensen?
I mean, would they go 7-2 over a 9-game stretch or 7-3 like that? I mean, it's like
a lot of factors there.
Yeah, there's a zillion factors, but I'm just saying,
So again, John Schaefer hates. You hate Bob Melvin.
No, I gave him a 6. I mean, does anyone think I'm so far off base with giving Bob Melvin a 6? You gave him a 7.5. It's not like we're off by 30 points.
No, it's fine.
Hope Springs Eternal says, Bob. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just read. You don't have to pull it up. I'll just say he said experience helps with the crisis the team has gone through, like the Tatis situation. I agree. I tend to agree, other than the fact that since the Tatis suspension, the Padres are 3 games under 500. So it's like, I agree, but they're not playing good baseball, unfortunately. Is it, how would you say that? Chano? Chano, what's going on? Thank you for the super. Very generous. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you for all the supers. Great way to support this channel. Just click that $sign down below. It is in the chat box if you want to make sure we interact with your comment here tonight. He says, baffled that Melvin led those garbage A's teams to 90 wins in the playoffs, and we can't get this team to the playoffs. How can we explain this? Maybe that's more of my point. It's like he's got more talent, but this team's on pace for how many wins right now, Jim? 85? Is it even that many? I think it's probably, 86, 87. Again, I'm not putting it all on Melvin, but I don't know.
This team wins 87 games, makes the postseason as a 6th seed, and then Bob Melvin takes his team to the NLCS.
Next year?
Will definitely be this year.
Oh, it takes his team to that'll be amazing. Or, okay, I love that. Okay, at that point, we're going to change our scores on them. What if the opposite happens and they miss the playoffs? What's more likely?
How many wins did they get?
If they miss the playoffs, you're saying?
Yeah.
85.
What I predicted at the beginning of the year. I said 85 wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And they missed the postseason, then Bob Melvin's going to have to take some blame and accountability. But do I think he needs to be replaced as manager? No. He's the manager for the next 3 seasons. He is manager for the next 3 seasons. And that's no questions asked. I hope he's the manager for longer than that.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just telling you.
No, I know you're not. I'm just
that, and I will say this, and Jim, you know this, and you're not overly critical of Bob Melvin, and that's probably for good reason, because you think he's performed to the level that you expect him to have performed at. I have been very critical of Bob Melvin, and I think it's fair. Especially recently, I just don't see what I hope to see out of a team managed by a man with this much experience as a manager, is what I'm saying. Now he's had to deal with adversity. I get it. The Tatis thing is massive adversity. So maybe that's something that one man can't lead a whole, team out of, potentially. And maybe he hasn't had to deal with something that significant.
Even the best chefs in the world sometimes can't make a 5-star meal out of shit ingredients.
This isn't shit ingredients, though. Not over 162 games is not. Not with this starting pitching and not with these.
For 100 games, maybe.
But the starting pitching was good even when the offense wasn't good. It's like if you had some ingredients.
Some ingredient, like a good side dish, like a good side, right? The main course is the offense, and the steak is like old.
Yeah, again, I hope if you listen to what I said, and no one's even criticizing me other than you, but I'm just saying, if you listen to what I've said, it was basically like he hasn't been amazing and he hasn't been awful. He's been somewhere in between. For me, that's a little bit of a letdown based on my expectation. I stand by that. Where You At Productions, thank you for the super. He says, as far as I'm concerned, the bats came alive this series, but the rotation fell apart and the bullpen saved the day. How many bullpen days are we going to have? You'd think we'd learn from last year. Well, hopefully not many in terms of actual bullpen days because of these off days. Like, I don't anticipate them throwing, starting games with relievers, right? Openers over the final 30, 33 games this year. But to the point of, if you're saying, hey, if someone can't get through 3 or 4 innings, that turns into a bullpen day. That's a good point. That's why I'd be hesitant to pitch Sean Maneaa much from here on out, because I think you're asking for trouble. And that's based on what I've seen over 9, 10, 11 starts, where he just hasn't been the same pitcher he was over the first 9, 10, 11 starts.
Yeah, you can't go bullpen day down stretch. You need to have a good rotation.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do. You can't, if we see the Arrietas and we see the, who else, Velasquez is, no, but they shouldn't have to throw those types of pitchers even without Sean Maneaa. They should be able to skip Sean Maneaa because the games, why wouldn't you want to pitch Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove even if you had the off day, wouldn't you want Musgrove and Darvish pitching more often down the stretch than they are currently? As in keep them on normal rest, which gives them more games because of off days. That to me is just smart baseball and smart sense. I don't understand why you would do anything other than that. Oh, what's happening to you?
I don't know. Internet over here is not great.
Oh, good. Yeah, like Rich saying Morejone's not built up and coming off Tommy John. I'm not pitching Morajone or Martinez, right? You're not pitching Martinez to start, right? You're not stretching him out.
Martinez is your new closer, dude. Kidding me?
That's what I'm saying.
Morajone out of the bullpen. 99 for
What's
the
going
left
on
side.
here? What's going on in this chat? Is this a joke? Are people literally talking about drugs in the chat? What's going on?
What's happening?
All right,
we should
I do
end
want
this
to.
because I'm yeah.
You can go. You can go. I gotta get to Aura.
I get the aura.
Are you on the show tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Great. Okay, we do want to thank Aura for their support of the wrap-up show. Their co-founder, Will, is a San Diegan and a huge Padres fan. They have offices in Liberty Station. And if you click this Build Your Routine button, you're going to get 30% off your very first order. That's 30% off probiotics. I take one every single day. By the way, did you see me working out today, Jim? Probiotics every single day. Proteins for after workout, pre-workout supplements, omega-3 oils, immunity pills, sleep pills. I mean, literally, they have something for everyone. This is a great company, plant-based nutritional products. You want to get healthier. Trust me. I do. You do. Your family does. Your friends do. Check them out. ORA.organic. Click the link down below. You'll get there. ORA.organic. And click Build Your Routine. 30% off. 30% off your first order. Get healthier. It's affordable. It's plant-based. It's a San Diego-based company that supports this channel. So if you want to support this channel, if you want to get healthier, check them out. ORA.organic.
Yeah, go there right now. Build your routine. You get 30% off your first order. They have everything you need to live a healthy lifestyle. Do it right now. www.aura.organic. You will thank us later.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. All right. Well, we'll have much more on this tomorrow at 3 p.m. Padres play tomorrow night against the Giants. Again, Carlos Rodon pitching tomorrow for San Francisco. So we'll see if the Padres can find a way to win another road series. It would go a long way. We'll see if they can win a road series, a more challenging road series, even though the Giants have not been very good based on who they're going to throw, though. Padres and Giants tomorrow night. We'll be on the air at 3 p.m. So
you'll be on the air.
Wait, are you going to be there or not?
You'll be on the air at 3 p.m.
What time's your flight?
I may be walking in at 3, or I may be there at 2. We'll find out tomorrow.
You're taking like a 9 a.m. flight.
Taking a 10 a.m. flight.
10 a.m. Dude, that's a little risky, 10 a.m. What if it's delayed? Then you won't be there.
I won't be there.
Okay, so radio show at 3, wrap-up show tomorrow night after Padres-Giants game 1. Before we get out of here, as always, I do want to remind you about our podcast. That's not our podcast, but this is the wrap-up show, the official podcast now of Friars on Base. It's presented by Higher Impact Financial. Make sure to check them out at higherimpactfinancial.com. And let me tell you a little bit about Eric Lanier. He's the founder of Higher Impact Financial. He's also a San Diegan, born and raised, and a huge Padres fan. His mission is to align his clients' values and passions with their finances, and he specializes in retirement planning for individuals and couples who are looking to retire in 5 years or less. Make sure to get in contact with Eric as well if you're a new family trying to figure out financial planning and investing. He is there to help you, whether it's figuring out how to manage your debt, paying for college for your kids, or improving cash flow. Call him at 951-383-3033. That's 951-383-3033. Or again, check them out at higherimpactfinancial.com. Check out our merch. We've got it.
We look
Link
good.
down below. We look so good there, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Check out our membership program. Click join down below. Emojis like the Jim Sucks emoji, badges, and more. Before we get out of here, please make sure to support our partners. The reason we're able to do this day in and day out. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He can save you $750 on your insurance. Link down below. He's our title sponsor. Aura, we just told you about, ora.organic, 30% off your first order, plant-based nutrition, and Omar Sanchez, Edge Home Finance. Go to his brand new website right now or scan that QR code, loansbyomar.com, loansbyomar.com. A lot to get into tomorrow, 3 p.m., Jim, and tomorrow night on the wrap-up show. Travel safe, dude. I'll see you at like 6 o'clock when you get here.
Okay, Pooh. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Thanks, guys. Look at Jim. He just bails before it's over.